Okay, today we are diving deep into one of the most incredible stories in existence, but it's a story that's almost completely invisible. We're talking about the very first weeks of life. This is a tale of engineering, of survival, and of just breathtaking complexity, all happening on a scale you can barely even imagine. So let's get started on this amazing untold story.
But before we get going, let me start by asking you a question. Just think about your own heart, the one beating in your chest right now. When do you think that rhythm, that very first pulse of your life, actually began?
Whatever you just guessed, I'm willing to bet the real answer is way, way earlier than you think. And to really understand why, we've got to go all the way back to the very beginning.
Our story kicks off in the first week after fertilization. Now, this is not some passive waiting period. This is a high-stakes, secret journey. A single cell embarks on a mission with a precise, pre-programmed set of instructions.
That first week is a story of incredible speed and precision. It all starts with fertilization, which forms a single cell called a zygote. Within hours, it starts dividing in a process called cleavage. This is a rapid-fire splitting of cells where they just keep dividing without actually getting bigger. It goes from one cell to 2, then 4, then 8, then 16, becoming a solid ball of cells called a morula. And by the end of this journey, as it's traveling towards the uterus, it transforms into an even more complex structure called the blastocyst, where the cells have already started to specialize.
So after about a week of this frantic development, how big is this entire structure? Just 0.2 millimeters.
That is smaller than the head of a pin. The complete blueprint for a human being, a complex cellular structure on a mission, is practically invisible to the naked eye. It's just incredible.
Okay, let's move on to the next phase, which is just as critical. The journey is over, and now it's time to establish a base of operations. This is implantation, where our microscopic structure has to successfully dock with the uterine wall to survive and continue its construction project.
The key player here is the blastocyst. And it's so important to understand that this isn't just some simple ball of cells. No way. It's a highly organized, complex structure with a clear purpose, containing two distinct teams of cells, each with a different mission.
And this just brilliantly shows the division of labor. You've got the outer layer, called the trophoblast. That's the support crew. Its job is to burrow into the uterine wall and develop into the placenta, the life support system. Meanwhile, the inner cell mass is the precious cargo. These are the stem cells that will go on to form every single part of the actual embryo.
With our base now established, we can finally get to the heart of the matter. Literally, we're about to uncover the full scientific truth about the very first heartbeat, and it involves a really common misunderstanding.
Okay, so the crucial point here is understanding how time is measured. In clinics, doctors use gestational age, which starts counting from the first day of the last menstrual period. That's about 2 weeks before fertilization even happens. But in biology, scientists use embryonic age, which starts at the actual moment of fertilization. This 2-week difference is the key to solving our mystery.
And this timeline reveals the answer. At just day 16 of embryonic age, so a little over 2 weeks after fertilization, the very first biological contractions begin in what's called the heart tube. This is long before it can be detected. You can't see that coordinated rhythm on an ultrasound until about week 5 or 6 of gestational age. And from there, it accelerates fast, hitting a peak of around 175 beats per minute by week 9.
Now, to be perfectly clear, these initial flickers on day 16 are not an audible thump-thump heartbeat. They're more like tiny, muscular twitches inside a primitive tube. But that flicker, that is the moment the engine of life truly turns on. It's the very beginning of the rhythm that will last a lifetime.
Once that engine starts running, the pace of construction becomes truly explosive. With a primitive circulatory system now in place, the development of the entire body plan just kicks into overdrive.
And the scale of this construction is almost unbelievable. During the 5th week of gestational age, the embryo is only about the size of a sesame seed, and yet the complexity being built inside that tiny form is just staggering.
I mean, just look at what's being built. In week 5, the neural tube, which is the foundation for the brain and spinal cord, starts to form. The blueprints for the lungs, liver, and kidneys are all being laid down. By week 6, little buds are appearing that will become arms and legs, and the very first hints of a face start showing up as tiny dark spots for eyes and little indentations for a nose and ears.
Let's just step back for a second and appreciate the progress. In just a few short weeks, we have gone from a single cell to a complex, living organism with a beating heart and the foundations of every major organ system in place.
This chart really shows the mind-boggling growth. At week 4, it's the size of a poppy seed. A week later, a sesame seed. And just 2 weeks after that, by week 7, it's the size of a grape. This isn't just getting bigger, it's an explosion of organized complexity. And here is maybe the most astonishing fact of all. This entire secret mission, the journey, the implantation, the first heartbeat, the laying out of the whole body plan, is often complete before a woman even knows she needs to take a pregnancy test. It's a whole universe of development unfolding in complete silence, hidden from the world. A perfectly executed plan, all starting from a single cell. When you think about that quiet, invisible miracle that is the start of every single one of us, well, isn't that just the greatest story ever told?